finish setting up everything once we go live. All righty. Okay, so now we are live on Facebook. And now let me just finish creating a watch party. Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today? Got good old Miranda with us. And we are finishing setting up some things, so just bear with us. For those that are on here, if you have any questions that you have for Miranda or myself on what you want. And Miranda, I'm just finishing putting this here. All right, watch together with the group. Did you have a good 4th of July, Miranda?
I did. Did you?
I did. What did you end up doing?
Honestly and truly, I was making offers.
Well, that's a good problem to have. It was, you know what? I noticed it was pretty crazy. Well, I mean, the real estate side of it. I mean, it was pretty busy, I must say.
Yeah.
I mean, we still had showings on our properties. We had. Oh, hold on. Okay. There we go. Yeah, it was just like I ended up. I mean, buyers are just. I mean, they didn't even care at all whether or not it was the 4th of July. I really think the fireworks had a huge impact on that as well. What fireworks?
I'm sorry?
What'd you do for fireworks?
We didn't do anything just because of the way our schedules was with the family.
Yeah.
We typically get together, but not this 4th of July.
Yeah. Yeah. What in a world? What do you normally do?
We usually get together, have a bonfire, and it's usually us and the kids, and maybe mom and my other sisters. But we didn't do
Right.
anything like that this year, just because it's a little crazy.
Yeah. No, I definitely. It was strange. They said that the South Carolina fireworks like drastically sales went up. And needless to say, you find this hard to believe, but since a lot of the bars were closed, a lot of alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, even here, and I'm not in a subdivision. I'm out in the rural part of Cabarrus County, and that night, me and my daughter went out because one of the outside dogs came up missing, and we walk outside. I mean, we hear fireworks going off, of course, but we came outside, and it was as if they were literally in our yard.
Yeah.
All around us. So we didn't miss
Crazy.
anything.
It is. It's I know we saw fireworks like when we were driving back home, like Brielle was like, Daddy, look at all these fireworks. I mean, it was different, like just driving normally, seeing all these different fireworks all over the place. So
Oh yeah.
well, anyways, Miranda, I first want to thank you. It's a little bit after 1:30, so I like to make these short and sweet yet purposeful on hearing agents' stories and where they come from and how they developed. And so I definitely worked time being on here. It's been very, very exciting. You and I have talked just preparing for this, and you get to, when I do these, you get to like revisit first met, how it all started, and being that both from Keller Williams and started in the classrooms with me teaching and just seeing you and kind of how our journey took place. And so that's the main thing that I want to like today for those listening in is one is how your journey started, where you now are, and kind of your ups and downs and the challenges that you faced, and how you became to the position that. So for those of you, we always talk about it. I'm going to talk up you and I'm going to talk about you because those of you who are watching right now who in your business has been from 0 to maybe 1 or 2 sales. And I think you and I would agree, Miranda, that you were when we first met each other. And to now being able to look at your business at $8 million in sales, like that's not a small chunk of change. That's like really producing, that's at a high level. And it's amazing, and hats off to you, because we talked about it earlier that I can coach and train and tell people what to do. And I really think that makes up only 10 to 20% of it. It's the 80, 90% of the people, and I say this, like, getting their ass out of bed, doing what they need to do, getting up and doing it every single day. And that's the compound effect. And you truly did that. And, there's many times that you probably didn't want to, and you would come into the office and you could just sense it, but you still sat down, you still busted it out, you did your work, you did what you needed to do. So, I mean, hats off to you on your production of where you've taken yourself to, and dealing with, and feel free, you can exercise and share whatever you want on your personal side. I mean, a lot of people know what I've been through on my personal world of the hell, and yet here we are today and still being successful. So hats off to you, Miranda, and kind of give us a little bit of a quick resume of yourself, of where you are, so some of the people who don't know you can know a little bit about you, and a little bit of your journey to start.
Well, as you and I discussed before, I hate, believe it or not, talking about myself.
Right.
So to give you a quick synopsis, as you said, we can make this short and sweet. So
Yeah.
I got into real estate. Yes, I'm over 8 million. That's it. The end. Bye-bye. No, I'm just kidding. But no, just to give you, I came from healthcare, combined total, it was 20 plus years in healthcare. I'd hit a ceiling, completely burnt out. This is one thing I will tell you. It took me 3 tries to get my real estate license. The first time, and it was a span of 3 years, the first time I failed the class, just because of work and my hours and everything. I just couldn't focus in, honestly, what it takes to pass the class. Turned around and re-enrolled and passed the class, but I failed the state. Mm-hmm. So then I was like, so just, this obviously is just not going to work out. Then finally I got enough gumption to try it one more time. And I was basically bent on, I've got to pass, because at that, I had just come to a crossroad to where I was completely and utterly unhappy professionally. Just again, burnout. But anyway, got my license in 2018 and joined Keller, and hung out there for 7 months. And basically, like they say, sort of felt like nothing against Keller. It was just me. Mm-hmm. I need guidance. I need hand holding. I need cooing and calling, whatever. But you don't learn in real estate school, you don't really understand everything that real estate encompasses until you actually get in the trenches and basically figure it out. Because there's always something new that you learn with each and every transaction.
Every day. I mean, I'm learning stuff now. You are too.
Absolutely. And I think if you are willing and open to learning constantly, then you'll do just fine. But in those 7 months, I had no direction whatsoever. And it wasn't until I reached out and thought, well, looking into joining a team, because I need the structure, the accountability. And that was the team brought so much value to me that I didn't even understand at the time. But looking back now, I see that, I needed the stability, the structure, the accountability, just basically learning scripts and the importance of learning scripts, learning how to fill out a flipping listing agreement.
Yeah.
And just the camaraderie amongst the team members themselves, because I always learned from each and every team member on the team. I was going through, is it life or death? No, it's not. That's one thing that you have always said, that Miranda, nothing in real estate is life or death. And you don't really grasp that as a new agent, because you think everything, because you're so hungry, you think, the sky's falling at every time you turn around, that there's an obstacle. Oh my God, I can't believe this. Right. But having those people in place, calmed me down but pulled me off the ledge when, I still didn't have a clue about what I was doing.
That is the key thing, because just like anything that you do, I mean, we can take and go someplace else. And I always like, if let's say you were in the medical field, right? The health field.
Mhm.
If I had to go into that health field that you were at, and I walked in there, I'd probably be so overwhelmed, and you'd be like, Brock, this is nothing. Like this is like no worries whatsoever. And I think it's you have the experience and you have the confidence and know what to do. And a lot of real estate agents, when they come in here, and just like you just said, there is, they lack the confidence. They lack, I don't know what I don't know. Like I have no clue. Like what school is and what the real world are two different things. And then once you get that foundation and you get that underneath your belt, I mean, it's like a flower. You started being watered and you kept growing and growing, but you were absorbing things and you applied it. A lot of people absorb, like especially in the coronavirus, and we're going to talk a little bit about the corona here very shortly. But like, well, let me just ask you, what did you do during corona? Like, I mean, obviously you're still selling and doing business. So what did you do during COVID?
Well, COVID, like everyone else's business, it slowed things down a bit. Like, we couldn't, a lot of my business comes from open houses. And
And
of
I'm not
course,
going to interrupt you, but I'm going to interrupt you. You said something. It did not stop your business. It slowed your business. And
correct.
for those of you, I want to make sure that you hear that. It did not stop her business. It slowed her business. And those are two huge, that word slow and stop mean a total different in what it can mean to you. So I apologize, but that was a very big word you used.
It slowed things down because one, we weren't able to do open houses. Showings were on lockdown. We didn't know from day to day if we could show property. Fortunately for the buyers I'm working with, they were looking in areas outside of Mecklenburg County that didn't have the same restrictions, but still everything was iffy. So my sellers, that the listings coming up, they put everything on pause because of the unknown. They were afraid, what's happening. And it's just working with them to reassure them that everything's going to be fine, still touching base, keeping, everybody up to date with what's going on with the market. But everything, just certain things were delayed, honestly, but nothing stopped.
Right. And during your time period, more phone calls? Were you like, what was your outreach looking like? I mean, how did that in your business? Did you do anything different? Share with us a little bit of your day to day.
Well, as you know, I don't get on the phones to prospect. It's currently working with, not to say that that's off the table, because heck, that's how my business started, with being on the phones, reluctantly, of course. But my first listing, of course, came from a FSBO. But it's really more about touching base with your client base, with the potentials that's coming up, with the referrals that you're getting. So just having those conversations and phone calls, reaching out to the people that I'm currently working with.
So I've heard people call this, and I think it's safe to say, is you made a lot of care calls. You made a lot of touch calls to your sphere of influence and past clients.
Yes, I'm touchy feely. So yes, I got to get out there and just make sure that everybody's feeling okay and they're on the same page. And is there any questions, that I can answer? And if not, then I'll find out, or what are their concerns and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I got a lot of referrals in the meantime during COVID out of the clear blue sky as well. So it's establishing those relationships as well.
And during those relationships that you were building today, how are you on your business?
So ask that again.
So during COVID, it was slow, right? You said it slowed down. You made a lot of touches. You made a lot of referrals. I assume it's safe to say, like right now, you're probably extremely busy.
I'm busy. I'm not as busy as like pre-COVID, because it seemed like everything was, flying by the seat of my pants. Things have slowed down because, everything's in quarters. What you're doing now is in 90 days. So I'm feeling it now, what pre-COVID, because I did several closings during COVID. But now I'm feeling more of the slowdown, as far as I'm still getting listings on the market. It's just not before, because everybody got scared and they're like, well, wait, let's figure this out. But it's slowly picking back up.
So I'm going to say this because I know she won't say this. She just said in her business. Now, for those of you who are, like, I want you to pay attention to what she said. I'm getting listings now. She made it seem like it's just a normal, that's a normal conversation. Oh yeah, I'm getting listings now. Like how many of you out there would be like, God, if I could just get a one listing. And that's because her mindset is now shifted where I'm expected to get a minimum of probably 2 listings a month. And that's a minimum for you to be able to build your business, for you to sell $8 million in sales. And that's just normal what you have going on. So when you're doing 2 to 4 transactions a month, that's what your normalcy is. And that's what you're used to now, Miranda, where that gets flirting between 36 and 40 plus units a year. You're listening out there, like, where are you in your business model? What are you doing? So one of the questions that just came up, Miranda, that I got here from Facebook is, what has been the key rapid growth and success? Like if you were able to nail like 1 or 2 things, what would be the key to your rapid growth?
First and foremost, I firmly believe in affirmations. First and foremost, I mean, go ahead, jot it down, say it, and my teammates would have said the same thing because I constantly pounded them in the head about, have you written your affirmations? Mm-hmm. No matter whether you believe it or not, write them down. So I'm a firm believer in affirmations. The second is to be consistent in whatever it is that you find. I mean, try several different things. Of course, I like face-to-face. I like interaction with people. So in the beginning, I started doing open houses that weren't even my listings. I did it for teammates and
so listen to that, everybody, not to cut you off, Miranda, but that's a key point there because a lot of people bitch, whine, and moan. Well, I don't have any listings. I don't have open houses. Well, guess what? Like here, like you would go and you ask other people on the team, like, hey, does anybody have listings? Like, where do they have? Like, we even like will go and reach out and call other agents who have, especially now with EXP, has like a Facebook page that has listings. Call them up, be like, hey, can I do an open house? Like, that's what I loved about you is like you didn't let the lack of not having the listings stop you from getting an open house because the open house your business was. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. And the thing that the open house, having the open houses or doing them taught me the interactions with the clients or the soon to be clients. And if they were already working with an agent, I still had great conversations with them, but it just programmed me better when they became my own clients or working with my own clients.
Mm-hmm. So talk about us a little bit about those open houses, open house strategy. Obviously, guys would be the two gurus. I think I would laugh at you two because you guys would always be fighting over how many signs, and it ended up costing. I was just always chuckle. I'd tell Heather, I'd be like, Heather, we need more signs. Like Heather or Miranda and Mike are like arguing over how many signs, and I think now 60 open house signs. But I think that's phenomenal because for those listening, like the signs is like it baffles my mind when people put like 3 open house signs like in the same subdivision street on the house that they have. Like, why the hell are you not putting them like a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles out? So share with us a little strategies that you had with your open houses is preparing for them and then conversations you would have with the buyers that came into the house.
Well, of course, it comes with signage and marketing, of course, and put it out there every which way but loose. In the neighborhoods, contact the neighbors, letting them know, inviting them over. And who do they know? I mean, because we always want to pick our own neighbors if we possibly can.
That's a script, everybody, in case you're wondering. That's a script right there, she just said.
The other is once the potential clients walk in the door, I just naturally assume that they're going to become my client. I speak to them in such way, of course, right off the bat, I'm going to ask them, who are they? Where's their agent? Did your agent come with you and look around? Mm-hmm. Oh, you don't have one? And then, of course, proceed from there. And if they have an agent, then, of course, it's just chit chat at that point in time, answering questions, getting their feedback, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. But if they're not working with an agent, I lock into gear at that point and take them on and speak to them as if they are already my client. And 9 times out of 10, that's just the way it works out.
Mm-hmm. I love that mindset. That mindset is phenomenal. It's the confidence factor that you have going in there. And I think it's you would say this, and safe to say that when you first did your open house compared to where your mindset is now, is there a little difference?
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you can be. I can go in there blindfolded.
Yeah. How many open houses do you think you've done in the last 6 months?
Probably up till COVID, was doing open houses every stinking weekend, and it didn't matter if it was holidays. I did. It doesn't matter because honestly, it's a numbers game, and there's going to be weekends that people don't come by, and then there's going to be a weekend that you think it's a hailstorm outside, a monsoon, whatever, and you're thinking nobody's going to come out in this mess, and sure enough, you pick up 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a hit and miss, but I don't think it's in vain.
So, which I love, because just for people out there to like the average real estate agent, and we used to talk about this all the time on our team, is like the average real estate agent probably does maybe 1 to 2 open houses an entire year, and you're doing, I believe, probably 6 to 8 a month.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Yeah. And when you start putting that into play, when people are saying like, well, how is she getting her business? What is she doing? Well, we're, relaxing, drinking, playing around, doing whatever on the weekend, finding it out, knowing that that's where your business comes from is on Saturdays and Sundays, because you said it perfectly. And I'll just repeat what you said is when we talked, I knew you weren't the person to do for sale by owners and expireds. And I would always train and coach that. But if you were doing something different, I would say to you, I don't care how you get your business. As long as you're getting your business, and hell, if open houses is what you got and you practiced and you learned it and you nailed scripts inside out and backwards, and your mindset shifted when you created that by doing more open houses and gaining. I mean, I remember you'd be like, oh, I just like over the weekend, we'd ask contact numbers. You'd be like 56. And we'd be like, holy shit, 50 people, damn. But it was through your open houses and that connection. And next thing you know, within like 3 weeks later, oh yeah, I got about 4 listings I'm putting up now.
Yeah. Because, people think that buyers just are the only ones walking into open houses. And I'm here to say that's not the case. Because typically in this market, people are looking to buy first, or, get some type of idea before they put their house on the market. So they have to sell in order to buy. So they go around to these open houses to get some type of idea. Maybe they're interested, whatever. Mm-hmm. But then that's when, you get that listing, and then you're going to turn around and purchase.
Yep, absolutely. And for those that are listening, the script for that is, do you need a home in order to make a purchase?
Mm-hmm.
It's that's it. There's nothing more to it. It's such a simple question. But, when you look into them, I'm pretty sure majority of the time they got to sell a property in order to make this next purchase. And that's how you start the conversation. It's asking those type of questions that you have there. The other open house question that I had for you, your follow-up. What does your follow-up look like? On Monday you just dealt with us. What does your follow-up now look like?
I always send a card. I mean, if depending on the information, and of course it's just a conversation, I fill them out to see, because people are guarded in this day and age, and they don't want to be snowed by anybody. I'm the same way. So I treat others. It's just the natural flow of the conversation to see how much information that they're going to give you. 9 times out of 10, I'm always going to get a phone number, no matter what. I always get an email. I might not get an address, but if we've had that conversation that they have to sell in order to buy, I always get that address, simply because, let me go ahead and, look up some numbers for you to see roughly what your property might be worth. So there, bam, I've got the address.
Yep.
So I follow up usually on Mondays or Tuesdays, depending on the volume, with a text message, depending on their contact method or their preferred contact method. And always within that week, they get a card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's a great follow, because I always say this. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that the buyer that came to your open house, it wasn't the only house that they went to that weekend. Mm-hmm. And they probably went to 3 to 5 other homes. and they had 3 to 5 other contacts with a, I'm very competitive. So the first thing I think of on Monday morning is how am I going to stand out compared to those other 3 to 5 agents that they came in contact with, because I want that over and their significant other be like, honey, that Brock guy, he was pretty good. Like out of all the agents, like he produced the most information. He produced this, but that was my mindset going into it. And your follow-up strategies were key, because most of the agents don't follow up, and you're following up. They reached back out to you. One of the questions I have here, Miranda, from Facebook was, when do you hold your open houses? Have you found any success? I know we talked about this several different times throughout, especially during season, blah, blah, blah. But what time did you normally do your open houses?
My open houses usually run anywhere between 12 and 2. If I'm doing 2 open houses, depending on the location, I'll do 11 to 1, and then 3 to 5. Typically 12 to 2, and then 3 to 5. That's typically, unless for some strange reason there's a hiccup with a schedule on a client that we have to alter those times. But typically 12 to 2, 3 to 5.
And tell me what somebody asked here, what paperwork or what do you bring to open houses?
Composition notebook.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
And you just get there. Do you give them information about the house? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I can't do an open house because I don't have any paperwork to give them.
No, I mean, I did that in the beginning because I thought I had to have everything perfect. And typically because of my paired lender, I'll have some information. But then, there's some properties out there that might not have had some great stats. And you don't want to put them out there that the school is a 0 on a scale of what, 0 to 10?
Right,
and it ranks as, well, I'm not going to put that out there.
Yeah.
So I might have an MLS sheet, just depending on my time, because sometimes I'll fly by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
I might not have, but if what I have found, I have to have a composition notebook. And because typically I'm just having a conversation. I'm not going to come across salesy. I'm not going to be pushy. I'm going to wait it's basically a dance. I'm going to dance with them. They don't know it, but I am.
Yep. And that's the key thing, is that they don't know. They've never, maybe they've been in a couple open houses recently, like 3 or 4 of them. But as many open houses that you've been in, who knows more about open houses? You or them? You certainly do. You know the questions to ask. And what I'm hearing you say, for those of you who are taking any notes, building a relationship with them before she pounces on them. And I use the word pounce loosely, like before she really grinds out the sales approach. But she's building a relationship first, which then builds trust, which then gets that opportunity for them to be, hey, Miranda, here's what I got. I mean, how many times would you say that in the case of it, when you're building a relationship, they probably actually gave you more information that you weren't even asking questions? Let me tell you about this. And you're like, whoa, I wasn't even expecting that.
Well, when you step back, getting people's opinion, having them go at their own pace and giving them that option, would you like a tour? A guided tour, or would you just like to self-guide, walk around? 9 times out of 10, they always want to take their time and do it themselves. And then just having them redirect back to you, of course, and I learned this from you, as far as getting their opinion. Everybody wants to give their opinion. And that's when, depending on what you pick up from people, because you do, you just have conversations, find out what you have in common. Find out what they like, what they dislike, what are they looking for, how long have they been looking.
Yep. No, and it's all, like you nailed it. Like, we don't do anything different. We just follow what successful people are doing, and we go from there with it. Because we're coming towards the end here, I got one more question that came through Facebook. It talked about your journal. It says, the question was, do you journal every morning or just write down your affirmations throughout the day?
Typically, on a good day, it's pretty much the same affirmations. It's anywhere between 5 to 10, and I might say, I'll pepper them out throughout the day. Especially if I'm like not having a great day, I will go over and over and over. There's some days that I don't do it. I just find that that's been ultimately the the seed that really started my business off, because sometimes we wake up, we just don't feel confident. We just don't feel like, we can do it. But if
Mm-hmm.
we practice over in our head over and over that we can do this, whatever it is your goals are, write them down,
Mm-hmm.
and just start saying them. It will, I promise you. I remember, if I may, back again, this is my business is only, I say that I've been in the business because people ask, how long we've been doing this. Well, honestly and truly, two years in August, but my business didn't start until 16 months ago. So all of this has happened within 16 months.
Yeah.
With that being said, what you taught me, I know initially it was you wrote a goal for me, because honestly, I didn't know what goals to write down. You're like, well, you're going to do 24 transactions. Wait, what?
Mhm. I remember you saying that to me. You're like, well, Brock,
And
I
you're like,
can't do
oh,
that.
you want 28? I'm sorry, I just started you at 24. No,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't believe in myself, because of course it was just a bigger beast than what in my mind, it was a bigger beast than what I could imagine. But now it's just like, oh, okay. And that was one of the goals. I mean, that was one of my affirmations, was
I love
24
it.
transactions.
So, of course, I told you I was going to ask you one question, and you weren't going to know the question. So,
Yeah.
here's my question for you. What is something that many people don't know about you? What would be something out there that like a lot of people just like? For me, I worked on a dairy farm, and I worked on cows, and I milked, delivered big calves, and did all that stuff on a farm. A lot of people don't know where my real work and farmland stuff. So, what's something about you that a lot of people don't know?
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't really know what, I don't really like to put out everything, my business out there to everybody.
Right.
But I'm not sure. I mean, I homeschooled all three of my children.
Huh.
I was that mom. And a lot
Yeah.
of people are now going through homeschooling, with the whole COVID thing. And they're like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah. Right.
That's
Right.
probably where my mind ended up, was,
Yeah.
I don't know, 20 years ago, when I'm
Yeah.
like, and I'm not that person. I look at women that are great homeschoolers and I'm like, I would love to be like you. I'm not that mom, but by the grace of God, I got through it, or they
Yeah.
got through it. Bless their hearts. They'll probably be on therapist couch somewhere one day.
Well, Miranda, it has been a pleasure seeing you grow these last 16, 18 months and where you transpired. I mean, it's been a real to be able to just be a part of your journey. And as new agents are listening and people out there, whether an agent who's doing 2 or 3 million, what would you say to them to keep doing? Conclusion and kind of your closing statement here is what would you say to those people out there right now?
I think it's extremely important to surround yourself with people that you look up to, that you aspire to be, whatever it is, either, in their business per se. Let's just look at it professionally. If you want to be doing more transactions, then you need to situate yourself in the form of surrounding yourself with people that are doing the amount of transactions that you want to be. Learn from them, listen. I think it's imperative, because I think you're a direct reflection of who you hang around.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to be a top producer, then you need to be aligning yourself around top producers.
No, I concur. I mean, Jim Rohn says you're the average of the 5 people you hang around, and I believe that truly. And sometimes it means you got to cut ties with people you don't want to cut ties with.
Mm-hmm.
A sacrifice, and that's not what but if you really want to have the life for your family and the life that you never thought you could be, sometimes that takes shape. It doesn't mean you get rid of them completely. It's just you have to, I think in the business world it is a little bit different, but it is.
Yeah, you redirect your focus. It's not to say that you're finished with those people.
Yep.
That's not it. It's just, it's a professional decision on your part.
It definitely has been a pleasure to have you, Miranda. And for those of you out there in the real estate world, one of your key areas that you work, Miranda? Is it Harrisburg? I know every agent's going to say everywhere, but if you had a key place, where do you typically focusing your business on?
Well, since June of last year, my business blew up in Salisbury, which is about 45 minutes away from me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, I still do because I live in the Harrisburg, Midland, Concord area of Cabarrus County. I still do those areas. Salisbury is very prominent for me just because my business took me there last June. And now, in the last several months, now I've branched out to Monroe, Waxhaw, Matthews as well, Kannapolis.
So, for those of you who are listening, if you know anybody who needs help mentoring, if you need anybody who's looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, and you're looking for a top agent, Miranda is definitely somebody I recommend. I've had, like I told you before, it's been a pleasure seeing you grow, and you truly have become a top agent in this industry. And it goes to your work ethic, it goes to your dedication, and those that are listening, she's definitely somebody that, get a listing agreement, a buyer agency agreement with her. She's going to take care of you and your family. So hats off to you, Miranda. I definitely appreciate you being here today. And if I can always, as you know, help you, you let me know. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Brock. I
All
appreciate it.
right. See you later, Miranda. Thank
All
you.
Bye.
Bye.